Yes, sir.
I'm just curious about what your philosophy is on countering the AA 12-step program.
Okay, it's kind of an interesting thing. Urban kind of initiated it among my panel members, and it takes the responsibility out of your hands and takes the authority out of your hands to be in charge of your life. Again, thinkers lead their lives, believers follow their lives. And if you believe that you're an alcoholic and you're trying to get something outside of you to take care of it and nothing else is restricting you, you keep falling off the wagon, going back to it, and so forth and so on in many cases. So I say take self-responsibility. That's in any part of life. Now, if you're going to have brain surgery, you ain't going to do it yourself. But it's your responsibility to make sure you go through the connections to get the brain surgery done. If you don't do that, you're going to be on the street with brain rot, whatever's going to happen to you. It's up to you. If it's going to be, it's up to me. It's a can-do people type thing. That's.
Why can some people be exposed to something like this? They can read all this, and yet they still are unchangeable in their viewpoints.
Perfect question. I think it's in the genes. I think it's in the genes. This guy here was a nationals wrestling champion. So Jim, he's a board member also. What do you got?
I appreciate you because what you're doing is giving me a tool when I have these people that are so convinced the Bible's true, and I can't debate it too much except it's not. So now I've got a resource. I don't expect him to have any opinions on anything except giving us the information so we could have a tool. And I've got a son that I'm going to use you. In fact, he would have came here and went for the Super Bowl, but that is super. And him and I talked quite a bit. I wanted him to come in my world. Just like kind of us, we're talking about the values and all this. No, I appreciate you because I'm going to use you many, many times. In fact, maybe next week. But he's limited on where he's going. In other words, he can't explain why because that's not what he wants to do. And I appreciate you.
Use me any way you can. Just don't abuse me.
No, I'm not doing that.
I get a lot of abuse from believers, but I've had it happen so much, and usually it's a cookie cutter. They can't do anything but a simple 2 or 3 tactics. And I'm so used to it, and I never get mad at them. Never. Do I, Urban? I never get mad at them. I try to deal with them at the level they're talking to me. I try to be polite always. I thank them always, no matter how much they slam me, because they're expressing themselves. And as long as they get exposed to something that might make a difference to them, that's all I'm interested in, is trying to, if you're going to promote the God of the Bible, at least know what he did. Is that unfair? If you're going to promote him, at least know what he did. How are you going to know what he did unless you read what originated him? This book. Yeah, Jim.
Or have you?
Yeah. What?
Because you're the expert. I call on you to explain it. I'm not going to do all that. I don't believe.
All I can do is take you to the source. I've got it all explained there, but I can stand up and say it. I can't say it any better than I've written it. I wish I could. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just saying, some of the debates and things, your goal must be just the peripherals, because it just seems you're always playing in their ballpark, and you can't win, because they're not going to change, and it just seems to be blowing in the wind.
Sometimes I feel that way, but we have people change.
But I think a lot of people do change.
We have some change. When they see logic and reason, sometimes they trigger that part of the brain.
I think there's people, actually in the crowd and stuff that are going to be listening. It might hit something because it seems like so many of the real hardcore, you just can't.
I'm not in the business to convert. I'm not there to convert. All I'm saying is, please, if you're going to promote your God, please know what he did. That's all I ask. If you're going to promote him and finance him, assuming he's fictitious or real, at least know what he did. Because I know what he did. And anybody who reads my website and say, that can't be in there, and they look it up, it's there. Let me just show something here. This is what cut my teeth on. Happens to be Catholic, but it's big print. and easy English. This is what I started with. Now, this is the King James.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I can read it now after 20-some years doing this. I couldn't do it 25 years ago, but now I can go through this like I do any of them. This is something very few people see, except the Jews, and this is their book. This is the Torah.
Oh,
This is the Torah. Now, the Torah is a scroll, technically. This is the English on one side, Hebrew on the other. It's one of the first 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. But in this book, when you open it from the back. It's backwards. There's the big first page. Okay? And I read this right along with the other 2 because between the 3 of them, I took the one of the most teeth. And sometimes it was Catholic, sometimes it was the Torah, sometimes it was King James. And I put the most horrendous version out there. And basically, they're all saying the same thing, folks. So if they tell you it's different, some of the family Bibles are different because they don't want the kids to see sitting on the wall, eating their own dung and drinking their own piss. This is what the King James Version only has. The Catholic Version doesn't have it. So research is the books themselves. I don't expect people to go ahead and read these books because of me. Look at those and get your book out and just, when you challenge, look it up and see if it's there. Over here, I think.
Yeah, are you, way back at the beginning, I understood you to say that asking questions is an end in itself. I believe that I am a you, because the purpose of asking questions is to look at things from all angles and to come to conclusions and to be able to say, I do believe whatever, or I cannot find an answer to this question.
I don't believe what the chapter and verse says. I know what the chapter and verse says. Do I believe it happened? Probably not. But the message is what I know the book is trying to tell me. For instance, okay, in Exodus again, there's 10 plagues. How many people know that before, after, and between each plague, God hardened Pharaoh's heart so he would not obey him? I made a parallel story out of this. It's another parable of my own. I said, a tyrannical father came home one day and went up to his little 5-year-old child, his son, whose name was little Pharaoh. And he said to the son, he says, do not move from here to there, for if you do, I will severely punish you. And then the insane father grabbed the child behind the neck and moved him from here to there. And then he punished him for disobedience and took off one of his toes. The insane father did this to his child 10 times until all his toes were gone. And the child cried and cried and cried. And then he made him follow after him and then put his head in the ditch and drowned him.